Okay. We are live and rolling. Okay, good. YouTube. YouTube always takes a little bit longer. And I got to tell you, the YouTube delay just makes me kind of nervous. But that's okay. I'll make myself a little bit bigger over here, if you don't mind. So, all right, welcome to today's, what is it, July 3rd. So July 3rd, our CTO office hours. I think I'm going to change the name, but we'll sort that out later. I'm going to have a poll up and figure that out. But got to continue to drive eyeballs and earballs here. So we'll make that happen. Okay, so today, as is usual, the format is we start with the topic. I ramble for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Then after that, the floor is open. We get your questions out on the table. We understand what is given you, challenges, and we help you. In an ideal world, everybody's helping everybody in the chat, not me continuing to talk. There's been nothing that has made me happier in the past than seeing someone post a question in chat, either on Twitch or on YouTube, and seeing chat respond with all the answers. That's the magic. That's what I'm after. But that doesn't happen if you're not here. So bring your friends, get your problem solved, help each other out. Okay, on to today's topic. Today's topic is how to scale and not fail. Yes, as the slide said, I did that on purpose. It popped into my head and it put a smile on my face, so that's where we are. Cool. Okay, Josh, great. We're here to talk about scaling. How the heck do we know that you actually have any experience doing that? I've actually had a lot of experience doing that. Most of my career has been spent in companies going through a transitional period. The biggest one has been I was hired to a company to onshore development. So all development was done offshore, and they wanted to bring it onshore. So we had a massive customer base. We needed to build a new version of the product, all these things. So that meant we had to scale as fast as possible. We ended up growing one team per quarter. We did that for 6 quarters straight. Then pile in acquisitions, and we grew to 100 engineers across a couple continents relatively quickly in less than 2 years. So that was fun and exciting and challenging. Also been able to scale companies, not only just engineering teams and products, but scale in success and numbers and metrics and all of that jazz, and be able to have a exit for a couple of $1 billion. So scale in a couple directions there. As I talked about, acquisitions in both directions, both being acquired and the acquirer. And there are different challenges that go along with that. And that often means scale is happening. Someone needs to rapidly scale up, or someone needs to bring somebody in and help them rapidly scale up. So that's why we're here. We are talking about scaling. So on to the main content. This is the thing. If you hear only 2 words from this entire discussion, these are the 2 words that matter: autonomy and alignment. You have to, as a leader, walk this razor thin edge where you are enabling both to operate in unison. Sounds easy. I assure you, it is not. When you are able to have this perfectly balanced, where your teams, your people are aligned, which takes effort for people to talk to each other and communicate and do all that stuff, and they're autonomous, meaning they're not really talking to each other as much, they're just doing their thing, then that's when scale can happen. That's a massively difficult challenge because they are always fighting against each other. But that's the fight that you have to manage and lead as the leader, or as someone that's trying to drive this change. So this is the world that you live in. If you are choosing, or you are forced into having to scale, please directly implant this in your brain. Always have this, always be questioning. Am I, as the leader, am I maintaining the balance? Or have I over rotated and we're focusing on alignment? So we have all these extra meetings, and we're doing all this additional stuff that's slowing us down, that's slowing people from running autonomously and delivering on what they can do. Then what happens is, because I've been guilty of this, I swung the pendulum all the way to the other side of the house, and now we reduce meetings and everybody's running on their own, and surprise, surprise, we stumble and fumble over each other because we're not aligned. So once again, if there is one thing, not if there is one thing, I am telling you, the one thing you take away from today's discussion about scaling is you must fight the never-ending battle of maintaining balance with alignment and autonomy. Just like Star Wars, trying to achieve balance in the Force, this is your job. You have to get that balance. All right, so let's talk about executing, making that a reality, how we do that. What are some of the things that are required for this to become a reality? First and foremost, you have to ask the question, both directly and also indirectly. Do the people that you are now forcing into increased autonomy, do they want that? This was a struggle for me because I naturally want autonomy. So early in my career, I just assumed everybody wanted the same things that I wanted. Why wouldn't you want to be autonomous? That's what I want, so you certainly should. Not true, not fair, not realistic. So, I put my foot in my mouth a couple times. I made a handful of mistakes. And a huge lesson was just me opening my eyes, realizing, hey, dummy, everybody's not wired the way you are. So let's stop and understand how people are wired. And then we can effectively build a plan. The reason why this question is important is because you will likely be asking a decent part of the organization to operate in a way that they never chose to operate. They didn't come to the company to be autonomous. Maybe the company that you acquired or whatever it was, or you've come in as the new leader, and so now you're asked to do X, Y, and Z, and part of it is increasing autonomy, scaling, right? You have to scale. And so that requires autonomy, as we talked about. Maybe the people that are on the team didn't want that. That might not be what they signed up for. That's okay. So at that point, you have to have the discussion with them of, are you okay with this change? And if you're not okay, that's okay. That's okay. There's a couple choices. If you're okay with trying to go through the change, then I got your back. Let's make it happen. But if you're not okay with it, then that's fine. Then you're not going to be happy here. Let's help find a place where you're going to be happy. So you don't kick them out of the organization. You don't give them the boot. You say, okay, cool. So where we're going isn't comfortable, isn't a place that you want to be a part of. We value you. We care about you. Let's help find a place that fits the style that you'd like to work in. And then at that point, be a good leader, be a good person, and help them find the right fit. Okay, so after you've answered the question of, yes, everybody's on board, everybody wants to be a part of this, everybody is freaking fired up to tackle this change. Everybody's ready to rock and roll. We want to scale like crazy. We're excited, fired up. They're bouncing off the walls. You have to get really good at hiring. Hiring can be a drain in many, many ways. It can be a drain in that if you're trying to do it really well, it's going to pull a massive amount of your effort and energy from across the team to find the right people. If you don't do that, it could be a massive drain when you hire the wrong people. So again, we go back to the balancing act of autonomy and alignment. You have to find a way to find that right balance of how to find the right people without crushing your team and putting them in interviews every day for 75 hours, or saying, you know what, we're going to bother you and we're going to hire people and risk them not being the right fit. So you have to be aggressive. The way I like to tackle this problem is I treat everything like a product. So when I get stuck of, oh my gosh, I gotta really do something great here, I think about all the time and energy that me and my team have put into building a product. And the way we do that, the way we iterate, the way we manage things, the way we retrospect, the way we figure out what is and isn't working. We do all of that and we continue to optimize our process. And at first it was bumpy, but we got to a really good point because we knew and understood we had to walk that knife edge of just enough, but not too much. And you're always measuring that. That's always changing. So be aggressive. One of the rules that I've always preached is if it's not a hell yes on, I want to hire this person, I think we should hire this person, then it has to be a hell no. It can't be anything in between. It's either we have to have this person, please get the offer letter out to them as quickly as possible, or don't hire the person. When you start to get complacent or you start to say, oh, well, it's okay, you know, this isn't a perfect fit, but we just have to have a butt in the seat. That's when things go wrong. That's when things go bad. That's when we talked about the drain on the other side. That's when stuff's going to happen. It's going to be messy. So stick to your guns. Know who you want. Know what a good hire looks like. And help the team figure out effective ways to measure and manage that. Okay. Water time. Okay. We've hired. We've done well. The next thing is what I call process peril. This is something that I was terrible at. I'm an engineer. I start architecting things. I start foreseeing problems that are coming up. And then I start putting processes in place. And then those problems never arise. So now we have additional process in place to prevent a problem that has never happened. I had the best of intentions. I knew that, oh my gosh, this could happen. This could be a thing. If that happens, we got to be ready. And ready to me meant that we had all these processes in place to prevent it, or to, like, when that thing happened, we were ready. The world is not linear. Your life is not linear. Things don't always go as you expect. So luckily, I had some very good members of my team that would always question me. And the best question I ever heard, also one of my least favorite questions to hear, because I knew what the answer was I would often get asked, Josh, do we have that problem right now? And my heart would sink. Like, oh no, they're right. I thought this was a problem. It could be a problem, but it's not a problem. So that means I had to put it on a shelf. I was ready if it became a problem, but what I didn't need to do was increase the alignment for stuff that we didn't need to be aligned on. We didn't need to address that problem. We didn't need to solve that problem. But I was solving problems that didn't exist. And boy, that'll crush a team fast. Because now there's all these things they're doing. They're looking around like, why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Oh, because Josh thinks it might be a thing. Oh, well, that dope. So it often happens with the best intentions. Not often, like it always the best intentions. It is always, hey, this could be a thing. Let's be ready. Let's be prepped. It's not a thing yet. Don't worry about it. When it's a thing, you'll figure it out. It may never be a thing. That's good. Doesn't mean you were wrong. Just means things have changed. All right. I'm going to continue to shove this slide in front of your face because, again, this is how you scale. You fight this never-ending battle of maintaining the balance between autonomy and alignment. We'll continue to talk about things you can do, ways to make that happen, but you'll be seeing this slide, I think, one, maybe twice more. We'll see. Okay. Context. Alignment requires context. For people to be aligned, they have to have shared context, shared understanding of what is required, what the problem at hand is, what is happening across the organization. For leaders, this is the job. Full stop. The job. When you build an autonomous and aligned organization, your job becomes building and maintaining context. It is a never-ending battle because when you're scaling, as you're talking to your team and you feel like you're saying the same thing for the 70th time, you just hired somebody. You just grew a new team. So now this is the first time that new team's hearing it. The 70th time, your first team is hearing it. So you can't say things once and expect them to hold and stick. Now, in a really good scaling organization with a great culture, you aren't the only one droning on about culture and the things that matter and what you're trying to do. The rest of your organization is doing that. You are speaking as one. Your context has permeated through the organization for people to understand how to build the autonomy. They understand alignment is required, and autonomy means you're not waiting for somebody else to do it. So they're sharing the context, but you as the leader, this is the job. It is your job to ensure that context is acquired by all people. Maybe that doesn't mean you're doing all the talking. Maybe you're setting people up. Maybe they are the ones that are sharing it, but you have to orchestrate it. That is the job. So if you want to be a leader of a large organization, that's the job. Make sure you want it. Okay, continuing on. This is the scariest part of the whole situation, is you willingly let go. You willingly relinquish control of success. If you've done all the things prior to this slide effectively, things will take care of themselves. It won't be perfect. There will be stumbles. There will be skinned knees. There will be various things like that. But it'll turn out okay. I often equate this to a coach on game day for a sport. The players run out on the field. The coach stays on the sideline. The coach can maybe yell or say a couple things, but they aren't the ones kicking the ball, throwing the ball, dribbling the ball, shooting the ball, whatever it is. They aren't the ones doing the thing. They are now watching the organism, the orchestration that they tried to create. They are now watching it happen. Maybe halftime or something like that. They can inject a couple nuggets or something here. They can whisper to somebody as they're on the sideline or whatever. They can do a little bit. But that cake is baked. There's nothing you can do about it. Sure, there's little adjustments, but a team's going to succeed or fail in that moment. And you are watching it. Again, if you've done all of the things, if you've been great at hiring, if you've been great at communication, if you've built a great culture, if you've tried to maintain that balance of alignment and autonomy, they'll figure it out. But there are moments where it's absolutely terrifying. Here we are again. Maintain that balance. All right, last slide. These are the biggest mistakes that I made along the way. You'll notice they kind of correlate to previous discussion points and topics that we've had. I mentioned some of them. Number one, I assumed everybody thought the way I thought. They don't. That's not realistic. That's not fair. So don't do that. I was solving tomorrow's problems today with tomorrow's processes. And tomorrow was always tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. It was always today. So I had to learn, focus on today's problems, the problems we have right now. And if we don't have that problem right now, don't worry about it, because you got plenty of problems you have right now. Focus on those. I famously had a team that was afraid to fail, that nailed their sprints perfectly every time. And I really leaned into like, hey, listen, we need to get comfortable with failing. One of my favorite videos I shared is from the Mythbusters, and they had this whole episode about failure is always an option and how they value failing because they learn from it. So I showed that video. I stood on my soapbox for 20 minutes talking about this is the change that we needed to make, and I had a great team. They listened, they responded. Boy, did they respond. They responded with failure and failure and failure. And then, as I asked them to, they celebrated the failure and things were going bad. And it was just like, we're doing what you asked. We're failing. Woo. So then I realized the mistake that I had made. And I had to correct the ship. What I hadn't done is I didn't maintain this balance. I asked the team to over-rotate towards one side. I didn't maintain the balance. So now we began to fail on purpose and celebrating the failure. And we just went too far with it. So I had to talk to the team about, hey, like winning matters. We are here to win. It's okay if we fail. The key that when we fail is that we learn from it. But we're not gonna do anything amazing or different than anybody else if we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We'll flatline. And we're better than that. We were better than that. So after a few months of, riding the ship, understanding the mistakes I made, we continued to grow into the amazing team that I expected us to be, and I knew that we were. But yeah, failure on my part, overemphasizing failure. And lastly, we talked about context, assuming that one talk is enough. I am a natural introvert, so my normal operating mode is I think if I tell somebody, I've told everybody. That's a horrible way to lead a team. So I had to learn the lessons, the thing that we talked about understanding, looking over your team and realizing there are some people that have heard you say a thing 100 times, and there's somebody that you just hired that has never heard you say it. And if you're scaling, if you're growing, that condition never stops. It always exists. It's always there. So you're always saying things, and some people are hearing it for the first time. All right, well, that is that. A little bit longer than I would have liked, but we covered all the things. So now, go forth and scale. Be better than me. Don't make the mistakes that I made. See them coming. Sidestep them a little bit. You got this. All right. It's time for chat. Everybody out there to jump in and say, okay, cool. Appreciate it, Josh. That's nice. But this is the problem I have. It doesn't even have to be about scaling. It could be I've got a pain in the ass teammate, or my boss has never shared any context with us at all. Whatever it might be, drop your question in the chat and we will address. And now the waiting game begins. Do we have any actual viewers that aren't bots? What do we think? Oh no, I wasn't live. Oh. Epic fail. To my YouTube viewer that has been waiting for 24 minutes. I didn't have the auto start setting on. So there was a little button I had to hit waiting for me to go live. Dang it. Oh well. Listen, the best place for you to join is always Twitch. That's the simplest, that's the easiest to go live. It's my native platform, it's where I am. So if you ever want to join any of these streams, please follow on Twitch. links are everywhere. Links are in this video, whatever it may be. So that's the best place for you to always get the content. YouTube, getting better at it. It's newer to me. I've stumbled and fumbled, as we've talked about. I've made a mistake or two there. So, all right. Well, unless we get a question, we're going to wrap it up. And thank you, everybody, for being here. All right. We'll see you. YouTube, sorry. Man, I screwed that up. Auto start.